Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode with your girl Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring. Hopefully you guys are having a lovely Sunday, just trying to stay warm here as we can do. So what I do is I take a look at certain problems, some algebraic, some geometric, and I break it down, especially for the GED, the ASVAB, the AFQT, the T's test, the C's test, the F's test, any kind of test that has algebra in it, right? So even if you're currently in an algebra class and you're just looking at trying to keep your skills up and ready before it's time for you to go back to school, then this is the live for you. So what we do is I basically give you one of our lovely problems, and I just want you to try to solve it as best as you can. So for this one, we have 7 raised to the second power, which is being raised to the second power. Is your answer A, 1,953, B, 1,593, C, 2,041, or D, 2,401? All you have to do is just put your answer into the chat. Hey, Janice. I finally ran into one of my TikTok people yesterday. That was so awesome. That is the first. So, Janice, you're my first TikTok person. No, actually, I do talk that back. You're my second TikTok person that I've actually met. And I've been on TikTok for what? 5, 6 years? Oh, so it was lovely to bump into you. So let's see what you guys got. Okay, so I'm seeing some D's. I'm seeing A saying D. We're seeing a lot of some guests that are coming in. I don't care says D. Awesome. Okay. Darwin, you're saying it's nothing. Okay, we're saying D for Caden. I think it's Caden. Okay, Mandy is saying the answer is D. Okay, we got C, D. Don't Cry Now saying D. Okay, seems like a lot of people are really into the DDDs. So let's take a look. You always want to take a look at what's inside your parenthesis. So we have a same base of 7, but this is a power being raised to a power. So when you have a power being raised to a power, that means you can multiply your exponents. So you have that base of 7, and then 2 times 2, that will give us our 4. Now for the solving piece, that means 7 to the 4th power. That means exactly this. I am multiplying that base of 7 to itself 4 times. Okay? So since we know that when you do your GED, when you have your ASVAB and your AccuPlacer, you cannot use a calculator. So I'm going to show you ways on how to do their calculations. So I have 7 times 7 and I have 7 times 7. Both of those are going to give me 49. So now I want to multiply those two 49s together. So I know if I go 9 times 9, that gives me 81. So that's 1 carrying the 8. And when I take a look at my answer choices, the only 2 that ends with the 1 is C and D. So A, goodbye, B, goodbye. So now I have to do the whole calculation. So we got our 4 times 9, that gives us our 36. And then the 36 times 8... Well, we got 36 times 8, that will give me, no, not times 8, 36 plus 8. That sounds like what? Will give me my 44. So my 4, carry in the 4. So now 4 and 9, that gives me my 36, carry that 3. So 16 and 16 plus 3, that gives me 19. So now we want to add, here's our 1. Then we have 4 and 6, that will give me 10. So if you notice with C and D, the last digit is 1, but then we're looking for the next digit. 1's a 4, 1's a 0. So since this is going to be a 10, that means D has to be my answer. Okay? When you're doing standardized tests, there's going to be times that you do not have to do all the way, because remember, this is a timed assessment. But if you're currently in the classroom, everybody wants to see your work. All right, so then you have your 14, carry that 1, and that 1 and 1 gives us 2. All right, it's as simple as that. That's what we're basically doing for each and every one of those. All right, so when we got our 18, so this time we have two expressions that are inside of a parentheses. So we have x plus 4 times x plus 2. So is my answer A, x squared plus 6x plus 6? Is it B, x squared plus 8x plus 8? C, x squared plus 8x plus 6? Or D, x squared plus 6x plus 8? Okay, so with Eric, we got our D. Yes, we're going to be doing that foiling. Good. Leanne with a D. God's sons with a D. Amir with a D. Britt with a D. Ben, not sure. Okay, not a problem. I can definitely show you. Okay, Robert with a D. Mick, the same with a D. Okay. Okay. Hotter than, we got Umi, D, Matthew, thank you for the heart, A with a D, okay. You did it in your head, good job. All right, roaming squirrel with a D, okay, thank you so much for the gift. And Nation with a D, Sierra with a D, awesome. So now, for some of you guys that don't know, we're multiplying what's called polynomials. So you can do this one of two ways. So you can do what a lot of people like to say FOIL, but I like to just straight say distribution. So when you distribute, we're taking our x plus 4 and our x plus 2. And when we distribute, we are multiplying. So I'm taking this x and I'm distributing to everything into that second parenthesis. So x times x, that gives me x squared. X times a positive 2 gives me plus 2x. Okay, now I'm going to take my 4, my positive 4, and I'm going to distribute that to everything inside that second parenthesis. So we have 4 times x, so that gives me a positive 4x. And then we have a positive 4 times a positive 2, that will give me a positive 8. So right here in the middle, those are my like terms. Okay, those are my like terms. All we have to do is just combine those two. So we have 2x plus 4x. Well, that will give me 6x. And then I bring down the numbers and their signage of my two ends. Okay, so that will give me my x squared plus 6x plus 8, which will be option D. Now, the one thing about distributive properties, sometimes people get a little bit lost in sauce. So there's another way that you can do this. Same problem, but I'm going to show you using the box method. And if you're already taking science, especially biology, I think you call it the Punnett square. When you're looking at the different color eyes, is it a brown eye, is it a blue eye, is it small wings, is it big wings? Same thing. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this first parenthesis and you're going to put it either along the side or along the top. So I like to put the first parenthesis along the side. I don't know why, it's just a thing with me. So you have your x plus 4. Then my second parenthesis, I like to put it up top. So I have my x and plus 2. So for me to fill the boxes, okay, yes, you definitely have this for any type of algebra that's being shown, even your TEAS test, this is involved. In order to fill the boxes, you need to multiply. So to fill this box, I got to multiply x times x. Well, x times x, that gives me x squared. To fill this box, I need to multiply 2 times x. That gives me 2x. To fill this box, I have to multiply x times 4. And it's a positive 4, so it'll be positive 4x. And to multiply to fill this box, I got to multiply 2 times 4, which gives me a positive 8. After you multiply, you're looking right here at the diagonal. Those are our like terms, and we always want to add them together. Okay, even if their signage is different, we're still doing the operation of adding technically. But since they're both the same sign, that makes it so much easier. So I'm going to write down my x squared. That's my highest degree. I'm going to add my 2 and my 4 together. That gives me plus 6x. And then I bring down my plus 8, my positive 8. Notice you get the same answer. So you can do the distributive property, or you can do the box method. The box method, it doesn't matter how many terms you're multiplying. You could be multiplying 2 terms times the 3 terms. That means I'm going to have 2 rows and 3 columns. I can do a 3 by 3. That means 3 rows and 3 columns. Okay, so it just kind of helps you see it a little bit clearer. All right, now let's take a look at number 19. Okay, so we have 7 yards plus 14 feet. That equals A, 30 feet, B, 35 feet, C, 38 feet, or D, 40 feet. Okay, so the person that asked me about the T, does this help with T's test? Yes, it does, because you guys especially do a lot of our conversions. Okay, I'm not bringing anybody up, so you guys can stop asking. All right, so I got Addie, she's got a B. Jade, we got a B. I think that's Britt. Britt with a B. Jem with a B. 3 with a B. Something Gobbler with a B, 35. We got Cupid with a B, Adventures, B, Jasmine, B. Okay, Noel, B, Kia, B. Okay. All right. All right, so let's take a gander. Okay, Jacqueline, I see you with the B. Not a problem. All right, so first things we have to realize, notice our answers are all in feet. So that means we need to convert this into feet. This is why I say if you're thinking about going into nursing, you need to know your conversions, your metric conversions. That is dire, okay? Dire, major, important. So now we have to understand that there is 3 feet, which is equivalent to 1 yard. Okay, so 3 feet is equivalent to 1 yard. Well, if you have 7 yards here, we need to know how many feet that's going to be. Okay, so we can make a proportion out of this. So I know 1 times 3 will give me my 3 feet if I wanted to go that way. So I can do the same thing. That means it's going to be 7 times 3. So that means we're looking at 7 yards is actually going to be equivalent to 21 feet. But they want us to add the 14 feet with that. So now we got our 4 and 1, that gives us our 5, a 2 and 1, that gives us our 3. So that does give us our answer of B, which is my 35 feet. All right, not too shabby. Good. Okay, now if you didn't understand, like looking at the process there, you could have done cross multiplication. You could just simply say, all right, well, 1 yard's 3 feet. Let me just multiply the 7 by 3. Same thing, okay? Same thing. All right, so now for the next one. What is 14% of 42? Is it A, 6 and 2/10, B, 4 and 8/10, C, 5 and 9/10, or D, 6 and 3/10? Okay, Lately with a C, Harold with a C, Setting with a C. Okay, Kayla with a C, Call Me with a C, It's Me, C, George, Jorge with a B, Settling in Canada. There we go. Okay, Carter with a C, Dustin C, not sure. Okay, Sydney with a C, Kaysen with a C, Crispy with a C, C, Crispy. Cheeto saying C. Okay, it's A, Patrick with an A, Pablo with a B. Okay, we got some B's, we got some A's, we got some C's. All right, so looking at it this way, what, which is our unknown, is, which is equals, 14%, which 14% as a decimal is my 1400ths, of, which means multiplication, 42. So we're basically looking at the multiplication. So we have our 42 times our 1400ths. This has 0 decimal places. This has 2. So that means my answer is going to have 2, because 0 plus 2 will give me 2. So now we want to multiply. 2 times 4, that gives me 8. 4 times 4 gives me 16. 1 times 2 is 2. And 1 times 4 is 4. So when we add these together, we got 8. 6 and 2, that's 8. 4 and 1, that's 5. Now we need to put it with 2 decimal places. Starting here at the end, that's going to be 1, that's going to be 2. So that means my decimal place is in between the 5 and the 8. But noticing my answers are in the tenths, that means I need to round this. Since this number is 5 and above, I'm going to give it a shove and add 1. So that's how we get our 5.9, which our answer is C. Okay. All right. So yes, I know I do a lot with hands and you're like, oh, or you just put it in a calculator. Like I said before, if you're taking the GED, the ASVAB, the AccuPlacer, the TEAS test, well, TEAS test, you can use a calculator. But for the GED, there's only certain sections. You might as well say you can't use a calculator. For the ASVAT, you cannot use a calculator, as well as the AccuPlacer. So you might as well practice the way that you're going to play. All right? So if you have questions, well, don't let math intimidate you. It's not the math that has. Do you have to show? No, you don't have to show your work on the TEAS test. No. If you're currently in a class, obviously you want to show your work so you can get partial credit. But if you're not in a class, when they're doing these standardized testing, they really don't care. They just care, did you pick A, B, C, or D? Or E, depending on the test. All right. Okay. Why are you scared of numbers? Do I tutor for the ACT? Yes, I do. I know the next SAT is coming up March the 14th. I definitely have that on my calendar. But you might want to grab me as soon as possible because school is about to start back up. And I basically have like 2 slots on Sundays and 1, maybe 2 slots on Monday. That's all. All the other slots are filled to the brim unless you're doing something in the morning. But you got something like, I don't know, school to do. All right. So it's not the reason why some of us are intimidated by math. It's just how you were exposed to it. How was it broken down to you? Now, if you were like that kid that was fearful and you wanted one more example so you could understand it, but everybody wanted to go to recess, yeah, you didn't want to be that kid. No one wants to be that kid like, can I see one more problem? Or like the major kid that says, you didn't collect the homework. No one wants to be that kid. No one. So what do? You internalize your pain. And then you're just like, I don't get it, I don't get it, I don't get it. And then after a number of times, you give up. And then you're like, this is stupid. We don't need this. I can live perfectly without math. Dude, everything is math. The way you calculate, the way you make your times, the way that you have the devices that we have, the way that we organize, the way that we cook, the way that we build homes, the way that we have restrictions and all that. It's nothing but math. The way that you make decisions, it's nothing but math. Okay? Just putting my little 2 cents out there. All right. So here we go. What is the mean of the numbers 10, 28, 50, 71, and 91? What is the mean? Is it A, 28, B, 50, C, 55, or D, 57? Okay, so I got some 50s, I got some 50s, got some Bs. I have some B's. I got Lele with a B, Riri with my 50. Oh, saw there's an older mother with a 5th grader and is taught so differently. I've forgotten. So, I know. Trust me, this new math can go back to the depths of hell, which it came. So I get it. I totally get it. Okay, let's see. All right, so we got a whole lot of B's. Let's take a look at it. So mean means average. So basically, we are adding all these numbers up. We got our 10, we got our 28, we have our 50, 71, and 91. So with mean, order does not matter. Okay, so order does not matter. Make sure you keep that in mind. So I have my 8 and my 2 ones. That gives me 10. So that's a 0. Carry the 1. So I have my 7. I know 5 and 2 will also give me a 7. So that's 14 right there. And the 1 and 9, that gives me a 10. So that's 24. Plus that other one gives me 25. That's how I like to do it. Just group them. Group them into numbers that I know. Now, since we have that 250, we're going to divide by the number of numbers we have, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that makes it easy. So how many 5s can go into 2? None. How many 5s can go into 25? 5. And then bring in my 0. Okay, so that's how you will get your 50. Okay. All right. All right. How do you calculate the median? You have to put the numbers in order. So in order for you to calculate the median, you have to put the numbers in order and then count to the middle. If it's in between 2 numbers, take a look at the numbers. If the 2 numbers is like 16 and 17, a lot of people are like, well, you got to add them together and divide by 2. Why? Because between 16 and 17 is going to be 16.5. Boom, saved you so much time. Okay. And if it's the same number, like say 10 and 10, obviously your median is going to be 10. All right. So taking a look, we have negative 14 divided by 7. Is it A, B, C, or D? Let's go. Let's go. Let's see what we got. So we got our A's, we got our A's, we got our A's. We got A's. Lucy with a C. Interesting. Okay, we got our A's, we got our A's, we got our A's. Okay, Kevin with a C. Tired with an A. We got Amy with an A. Hines with a D. Okay, Autumn with an A. This is very interesting. Okay, unpredictable. This is the reason why I developed my algebra for your pace, especially some of the stuff. Now, when the signs are different, when you're multiplying or dividing, that means your answer is going to be negative. Okay, no matter if the numerator is negative or the denominator is negative. If there's one negative number and you're dividing, your answer is always going to be negative. So B, C is going to be out. Now, 14 divided by 7, how many groups of 7 can go into 14? That would be 2. So your answer is going to be A. All right. I hope everyone, here's my thing. I love when someone says, everyone knows the answer is A. But obviously you were not looking at some of the answers I was getting when I asked for it. So it's hilarious. Yep, a negative divided by a positive is always negative. There you go. All right. So let's take a gander with our 23. Let me squeeze that in just a tad bit. All right. So we have, oops. What is the sum of the angles of the shape below? We had this discussion yesterday, and I felt like people wanted to string me up, which was hilarious. Okay, so is it A, 90 degrees, B, 45 degrees, C, 180 degrees, or D, 360? Okay, we got our C's, the Chase with the C's, Marty with the C's, Malachi with a C, Lele with a C, Elizabeth with a C, Sarah with a D. We got something. Really, Jeremy? Okay. Is that Quaqua? That's a nice one. Okay. So we have that. We have with a C. Good. All right. With our triangle. All triangles, regardless if you have a right triangle, a acute triangle, obtuse triangle, it will always equal 180 degrees. Okay, bonus points. What's another name for, say, two angles that are equal to 180 degrees? The sum of two angles that equals 180 degrees. What is their names? What is it called? Nope, not acute. There you go, Malachi. Good. Is good. Les. Oh, not isosceles. Not perpendicular. Not linear pair. There you go, Lisa. Good. The Chase. Good. Well, good morning. All right. So when you have the sum of two angles, so if I go like this, I know that's weird. But if I had it like this, and I want to look at this angle plus this angle, that's called supplementary. Okay. Okay, supplementary angles. But also known as, and I think someone put it in there as well, they're also known as linear pairs. So if you said that as well, awesome. All right, so let's take a look. 72 is what percent of 108? So let's go back with that percentage. 72 is what percent of 108? What do you think? Is it A, 34%, B, 53%, C, 66 and 6/10%, or D, 71 and 3/10%? All right, Amy with a C, Ryan with a D, User with a D, Super K, A, Lisa, kind of flip through it. All right, Daniel with a C. Okay, Shayna with a C. Pretty Virgo with a D. Okay, not sure? Okay. All right, and if you don't know, hey, question marks will work just fine. You know, save some of your typing skills. Okay, we got a C. Phoenix Queen with an A. Okay, Jaden with a D. Not sure what that says. I want to say trace with a question mark. Miss Kim, thank you for your honesty with a question mark. Obviously. I don't know. Can you? Can you use the bathroom? Okay, Chase with a D. Totally with a D. Bunny's unsure. Thank you. Alex, thank you. Dylan, thank you. All right. What is it? Well, you're going to see in a second. Keep your panties on. All right. Here we go. So we got that, Mr. Something, Empress, good. All right, so let's take a look. How to set it up. First thing, I write it out. So you have your 72 which is equals, what percent, so that's an unknown, but it's an unknown percentage, that's what we're looking for, of, which means multiplication, 108. Well, if I want to get this percentage by itself, I have to do the inverse of multiplication, which is division. So these 108s are going to cancel out. So now you got your 72, and you could do your division. Or we can simplify it since both of them are even. Let's see if we can simplify it into something. But no matter what, you're going to have to multiply it by 100 because we are looking for the percentage. So if we got our 72, I know both of them are even. If I try to divide by 2, that might work for me for right now. So if we did with the whole 72 over 108, if I reduce it by 2, got my 36 over my 54. And obviously I can reduce it again, but I think I can reduce it by 6, right? Because 54 is divisible. So if I divide this by 6, divide this by 6, now I got 6 over 9, which can be divisible by 3, which I should have just done 36 because 36 and 3 works. Sorry, should have done it by 36 earlier. But this is what happens. Reduce it a little bit more, so now we got 2/3. So now I can work with 2/3. If I got my 2/3, 2/3 of anything is like usually point, and it's a whole bunch of sixes, right? So if we have our point with all the 6s, we're going to write 4 of them because we don't need to call the devil up. Not today on the Lord's Day. So if we multiply this by 100, that means I'm moving it over 2 spots. So that means we're looking at 66.66, well, really with a 7. So our answer will be C. Okay. All right. So if you're liking what you're seeing, that's awesome. I greatly appreciate it. You can go ahead and tap away. If you're just like, this is so slow, that's perfectly fine. This is just probably not the live for you, because I gear towards people that haven't even seen, math in a long time or always have struggled with math. Those are usually the people that I generally kind of trigger too. And then, not want to say trigger, but but then people that are trying to get their GED, trying to get their ASVAB, or just to have a person just to break it down a little more than just like, here's a question, there's an answer. Here's a question, there's an answer. And I appreciate you stopping in. So if you feel like it's a little too slow, that's fine. I appreciate you signing in, but anytime that you send a message, now I'm in your algorithm. How you doing, bestie? So anyway, I'm going to have probably a couple more pages, but just in case, because I know some people want to get themselves ready for football games and all kinds of stuff. I do have some replays if you want to go here and go here. All of my replays from February 2nd of last year is on there, and it's under TikTok Lives. I know it's a really deep name. So if you ever want to just look at some of those videos, I have some things that looks like these. I have some where I just focus on a certain topic, like say factoring, exponents, adding, subtracting fractions, looking at decimals, scientific notation, logarithms, all those fun stuff. Okay? All right. So getting close to wrapping up. I love this. And also, if you're just like, hey, Audrey, I really want to pass my GED and I would love for you to tutor me. Hey, I can do one more. Okay? That's why I launched yesterday what's called Algebra at Your Pace. So it's basically a whole bunch of workbooks. It's almost like having me as your tutor, but at a discounted price. But the information is all the topics that you generally see in the GED, the ASVAB, and the AccuPlacer, and some parts of the TEAS test, especially with the polynomials, they're all listed in these workbooks. So instead of you just buying a whole entire book and you're only using a small section, you could just basically order what you need. So you have your volume 1, which deals with the basics, the integers, the decimals, the exponents. You have your volume 2, which deals with the functions, the factors, the divisibility tests that you need to do, order of operations. Volume 3 deals with solving equations. That's one step, multi-step. Dealing with the distribution, dealing with variables on both sides of the equal sign. That's the one that usually gets a lot of people. Linear equations, talking about your slope, talking about equation of the line, talking about using your x and y intercepts to graph. All right, a lot of people are failing your GED because of this section right here. Hello, Becoming, how are you? All right, this is what gets a lot of people, okay? And then this next one that's just been released is the inequality systems and absolute values. So you're solving them, you're graphing them, you're looking at the shading, what type of lines, all of those things are listed into one. All right. So we have one more. I know it's a lot of information. One more. Let's see if you guys can get this and we can end on a great note. All right, solve for B. You're like, what? Like, yeah, solve for B. Okay, 3B is equal to 3. What's my answer? Okay, so we got some A's. Okay, Tracy with a 1. CD, Phoenix, and Leon goes good. Good. Nice. Good. All right. Excellent. So we know we can do the algebra or we can just do the logic. If I multiply any of these, which one will give me a 3? It's going to be my 1, because 1 times anything is itself. Okay. So with all of this that's happening, I know today was a short-ish lesson. Just really wanted to kind of get you guys looking and watching and being able to break things down. So sometimes I'll do a little bit more with geometry. Sometimes I will do a little bit more. I think I'm going to do a little bit more with geometry next time. But just wanted you to get an idea of how to do your assignments. If you ever get stuck and you need some other resources, I now have released 8 different resources, okay, to help you, because I know a lot of us struggle with the multiplication facts. You probably had to leave school a little bit early, okay? Whatever your reasoning is, you never had to sit down and memorize it. Because multiplying, especially multiplying with integers and dividing with integers, trust me, these are all like little flashcards that you can do. And especially when it comes to the square and the cubes, that's another thing that you're going to need to work on. So again, I made some flashcards with those. Let me give you an example of the cubes, and then we're going to be done. So these are, let me do less zoom. Okay, so these are our cube roots. And a lot of people, because we're so used to seeing square roots, that when it comes down to cube roots, we have to stop and really think about what's going on. So now the cube root, it's saying there is a number multiplied by itself 3 times that will give me my 64. So if I take a look, I can match that with this one, which is my 4 times 4 times 4. And then with my 4 times 4 times 4, I know that's going to give me 64, which in turn means that 4 cubed is going to give me my answer of that square root, which is just simply 4. So if I want almost uno skip, no, I'm just kidding. We can actually go through the cube root of 64 is going to be 4. So it's just a matter of like having some of these things in your hands to help you memorize or to visualize, because most of us are visual learners. And some of us are tactical learners. So having something in your hand, not just having your phone, because you always have your phone in your hand. So that's why sometimes when people say, oh, I could do flashcards on my phone. How's that working for you? You probably did it one time, but you're so used to using your phone for other things, so it doesn't help with the memorization. Notice that it is color-coded. Okay, so with my 3 cubes. Okay, the same thing I can do for like, all right, what's 3 times 3 times 3? All right, well, 3 times 3 times 3 is the same as saying 3 cubed. And if I'm looking at 3 cubed, that will give me 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. So that means if I see the cube root of 27, I should be thinking of 3. And I can't find my 3. There it is. There's a whole lot of things going on over here. All right. So this is why I have a lot of these tactical things. This can help with people that are still doing homeschooling. This can help with anyone. It doesn't matter how old or how young you are. And if you really want to get associated and just kind of freshen your brain up, all you have to do is these flashcards maybe 5 minutes a day. That's it. That's it. So it's not a matter of like, oh, I got a tutor, and then you only see that tutor once a week. So you mean to say that you're only using that whole brain power and memorization once a week? Nah, that's not how it's going to stick so you can get this testing done. All right. So if you want more information about my algebra at your pace, just let me know. The link is actually in my bio. And if anything, if you want to purchase your own book, you can purchase it on the A. Can't say the name, but I can point to it. Okay, so it's definitely available in the A. You can just type my name, Audrey Codner, and then you can take it from there. But if you want to follow me, go ahead and come for a follow. I greatly appreciate you guys being here. And if you want more information, I'm revamping my website as we speak. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on. So if anything, we are going to try to shoot for tomorrow at 3 o'clock for my next session. I'm going to see if I can do a little bit more with the algebraic, the arithmetic reasoning from the ASVAB test, because it gives us a little more word problems, because you guys struggle with word problems, especially with if Susie is 2 years younger than this person, and then this person is 5 times this person, and the combination of their ages is, 73, how old is Carmen? And you're like, what? Who's Carmen? Yeah, those problems, right? So we're going to actually be doing quite a bit of those. All right. So I will see you guys tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then my kiddos are going to be back in full swing. So I don't know what my schedule is going to be like after Tuesday. No idea. So, but I will try to get on here and try to at least still be a parent. And if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out. Okay. Even if we're not, TikTok friends yet, I always look at the request section and I respond to it. But don't just say hi or hey, because I will delete it. Okay, just tell me what you need. Alrighty. Okay. Yep. Yes, Lucy, it is on the A. Yep. So all I had to do is just type in if you want. Sorry. Now I got all these papers in front of me. Swank. So if you just type in the title, and you should be able to see exactly this. Algebra at your pace. And then this is my name. Slide that up. And if you have any questions, there should be a Service Plus button somewhere on here. Go ahead and just click on that. And if not, you can just send me a direct message. Either way, I'm going to respond to you. Okay? Yes, because I can't say the word. Okay. So if you need help with algebra, my first recommendation is this one. If you want the digital copy is a little bit cheaper. That link is in my bio. Okay, so it'll give you an idea, because I'm going to give you a breakdown of which book to start with. If you want to start from the beginning, my suggestion would be start with volume 1. All right. See, SAT preparing, that will be more so for tutoring. So if you need me as a tutor, just go ahead and just send me a message. And like which SAT is you or your child's thinking about taking. Okay, and only do the math. So what kind of math should you study for? All algebra and conversion. If you're doing your TEAS test, especially the conversions with the metric. Now, here's my thing. If you're asking that kind of question, I'm kind of scared. Like, where are you in this process? Because being a nurse or a nurse's assistant is not for the weak. It is not. Like, you have to be on point with your math, because you can't make a mistake like, oh, that was supposed to be a 1 instead of a 4, because you can kill somebody, right? So you really need to make sure that you got your stuff that's on point, okay? Right? I know, yeah. There's a difference. There is a major difference. And especially knowing your conversions from like milliliters to liters and just all of that. Just all of it. Okay. Do I have videos on that? Not really, because I'm not really, I mean, I have some stuff, but not a whole lot. That's why I said, if anything, whoops, take a look here for all my replays, and whatever the topic is, just type that in. So you can take a screenshot of that if you like. Okay, and whatever the topic is, just put it into search, and then you'll see a whole bunch of, it's always, I think it's almost 300 videos in there right now. Okay, MAT, Masters of Art of Teaching. Algebra, conversions, yep. So here's my thing. You're also going to need to follow, if anyone's here for nursing, you can also follow a blessed RN, a blessed RN. She's awesome with dosage calculations. Like, that is going to be a great majority of your test. So if you need help with dosage calculations, you definitely need to go there. If you're thinking about going into nursing, definitely do your research, and you can ask her questions and she'll respond back to you. So if you're like, okay, what book should I get? Where should I start and all that stuff? That's a great person to start with. She's very welcoming. Because some people, when you ask them a question, they're not very welcoming. I'm like, rude. Like, I'm starting from the beginning. Can you help me out? Okay, good. Yes, because being a nurse is more than just, I want to help people. This is life and death, people. You got to make sure we get our calculations together, right? Okay. All right, everyone. Well, I'm going to skedaddle. I will see you tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me. I greatly appreciate it. And you have a great day. Not a problem, Alicia.